Welcome to another episode of Love Notes.
All nurses to the nurses station.
This is Taquita Love, a nurse and a comedian.
You think you could bring your brother the clear machine home? You know, the reviver.
And I'm talking to my funny friends about medical mishaps.
Clear!
You are listening to Love Notes.
So, Keenan, thank you so much for joining me during the pandemic. In the beginning of my show, I kind of like to get to know you as a comedian and what your journey was like. So if you could tell us like where you from and what you did before comedy and kind of like how did it get to stand-up comedy and where you at today?
Okay, yeah. First, thank you for having me. I'm from here. I'm from California, Los Angeles. Mainly like the Valley, San Fernando Valley. That's where I grew up at. I'm a military brat, so my dad is a Marine, and once a Marine, always a Marine. But we traveled a lot because of that. Before stand up, man, I was in college. I was actually in college, and that's when I started stand up. But then, I was working at Home Depot for like 9 years.
What? I think I
Yeah,
saw you in a Home Depot commercial. That's crazy.
yeah, that's a great story too. That's a dope little story how that happened. Um, So I worked at Home Depot for 9 years. I dreaded it. It's just tough when you work in a day job and you have dreams. Normally your day job's going to be dreadful. It has nothing to do with the job itself. It's just like your mind is somewhere else the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I literally worked there for 9 years while I was doing stand up. I used to like call out to do shows, everything, man. I used to go to shows with my pants full of concrete because I couldn't change on time.
Mhm.
Um, then, I worked there for a long time. So I worked very, very hard. I asked the manager one day, I was like, hey, man, I need some time off, like a leave of absence because, mentally this job's been taking a toll on me mentally and physically. Um, and he just laughed. He laughed at me. It was kind of like, what do you even do here? Because he was like a brand new manager.
Mhm.
So Home Depot switches managers like every year, every few years sometimes. So we had so many new managers. So he didn't know my reputation like that. So when he said that to me, he kind of laughed. He was like, "What do you even do here, bruh?" And I don't know. Can we curse?
You can be you. That's the rule.
Okay. Um. So I mean, I kind of got upset about that when he said that to me. I was like, "What the fuck you talking about, bro?" Like I'm like one of the hardest workers here. It's like everybody can attest to that. Yeah, literally dumped me in departments that I had nothing, and then you made me train all these people. That you put above me. Like, what the fuck you talking about?
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, buddy. He's like, well, just go talk to HR if you think you need some time off. And I was like, yeah, yeah. So I went to HR, who I was really cool with. I talked to her, and I told her I was like, I'm quitting because he's a bitch, and he was like,
Went from I need time off to F this job.
yeah, because and I'll tell you this, like I had. You might know the people that I'm cool with, like the people I did the special with, like Tony and Keon and DC. For
Mhm.
years, they've been telling me, "Yo, man, quit, dog, quit. Why you even doing this job, man? This shit's trash. Quit." And I was like, you know how it is. You're like, man, yeah, I need money. I need income. I need my bread.
Mhm.
So in the meanwhile, so let me back up a little bit. Before that, like a month before that happened, um, Home Depot, like a lot of times when they do Home Depot commercials, they have the actual employees. They let us audition.
Okay.
So like I went to like another Home Depot to audition for a Home Depot commercial, and I auditioned before and I didn't get it. So I was just like, I went in there and auditioned. The guy was like, "Huh, we might use you," and you hear that all the time. That
Uh-huh.
bullshit. I was like, "All right, yeah, thank you, man, appreciate it. Yeah, all right, sure." So I didn't think nothing of it. So some time went by. I didn't think nothing of it. I ended up quitting, and I was like, "Damn."
You should have. Okay, I'm gonna
No,
stay
I
at your.
no, I ended up quitting. I ended up quitting Home Depot. I was like, "Damn, man, I got this much money saved up. I got like the money that I had like in my little stocks and stuff like that. That all got cashed out, and I had one college gig lined up. That was it. So I was like, I'm gonna have a few $1,000s to pay my rent for like half the year or so.
Okay.
so I should be good until then. And I went to go do the college gig. I was sitting in my hotel, and I got a call, and some dude was like, "Hey man, just Keenan. Just want to let you know you booked the Home Depot commercial." This is right after I quit,
Man, that's crazy.
and I was like, I thought it was my boy Robert, to be honest, that worked there. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, he was like, "Yeah, let me get your social security number." And I was like, "Oh, for real?" I gave him a fake social, and then I hung up like this is some bullshit. And then they called me back a few days later and was like, "Hey, we need your fitting sizes and stuff like that." And I was like, "Oh, this is real." And then I ended up booking the commercial, and that money lasted me for another year for rent.
That's crazy that you had one shot and a commercial and that paid for the strife of you being at a job that you didn't want to be at.
You understand? You ever like you ever hear that or see that video with Steve Harvey, like to just take the leap or take the
Yes,
jump? That
yes.
was literally what I did. I had I might have told this story before to somebody, but I had talked to like, and I don't even know if he remembers this, but Billy Sorrells.
Uh-huh.
I was talking to Billy Sorrells at the Comedy Store one day, and he was telling me how he was like, "Man, you got to just jump one day, bro. You got to do it, man." He's like, "Just trust me, man. God's hands will appear, man. Like he's not gonna
Yeah.
let you fall, bro." And I was like, "Man, fuck all that." I was like, "Nah, man, I can't." Like, so I remember when that happened, I immediately actually I thought of him and I thought of that Steve Harvey clip, and I was like, "Dog, that mess was right. Like, you put all this work in. If you take that jump, I'm not saying for everybody's gonna happen immediately. That literally happened. Like that was such a fast turnaround for me. So my situation is different than anybody else's. But ever since then, I was able to pretty much survive off like comedy and entertainment, and that was in 2017.
That's dope that that happened because, like, with me being a nurse, I get, people always asking me, like, when you gonna quit? And it's like, I don't need to quit, because like the way that at this point, so the way that my job is set up, like I always thought comedy was a night sport.
Mhm.
So that, when I did start doing comedy, I could do it like I can go to work and then I could do comedy. It was like one of those things. But I do know the feeling that you feel. I start to feel that, like where it's like, man, like things that normally wouldn't bug me at work. I'd be like, man, why is she? And it'd be like, people say that's when you need to like, go for what you know.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean, I'm a fan of yours. We've been cool like since forever. It's kind of like one of those things in LA
Mhm.
where I don't know if I met you at Marty's or Haha, but one of those places where everybody be.
Mhm.
And it's just like you literally become like cousins. And it's, I hate to say it like that. It's kind of like I feel like stand up comedy is like a family. And like you just, you're a part of it in some way. And then like, everybody or you don't, you like a stepsister or a step cousin. It's kind of like,
Mhm.
and you've been cool with me ever since. But no, I just think that's dope. Your stories like that. I ain't know because I saw you in the Home Depot commercial, and I was like, look at Keenan doing his thing. I ain't know you knew how to do that for real.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I was a forklift trainer and everything. I trained everybody on the forklift at the job, all that stuff.
uh,
Yeah,
that's
so
dope. I'm trying to. I know that we mentioned. So me and you, we done shows before. And I always see you at Flappers, and I know that your work ethic is ridiculous. Not in a bad way, but just like you always grinding, you always working, you always got a show. And I think the fact that you mentioned that you live off of stand up comedy since 2017, that speaks for itself. What is the highlight of your career so far?
um I would say right now, I mean, I feel like this comedy special that we just dropped, Tony Baker and Friends,
Hmm.
that's one of my biggest highlights. It's I feel like it came out amazing. I enjoyed my set because normally when I shoot something like the first special I shot, I watched it so many times. I'm like, this shit is dreadful. Because you just like I could have done this better, and it's like this. I watch this too, and be like, oh, even some of those jokes are now a little bit better, but I still feel 100% comfortable with my set, and the response has been really, really well from it. Um, And that's what you do it for. You do it to have these specials. You do it so people can watch it and be like, all right, so you can start getting booked and start headlining for sure now and headlining across the country. So that's definitely one of my biggest moments, I think, in comedy so far.
Yeah, I remember when y'all taped it at Flappers, and I saw one of the shows, and it's one of those things. It's almost surreal sometimes to see people that you work with, and then like to like watch y'all on the big screen in my house. And I'm like, I saw them. I remember when he was polishing that joke at
Yeah.
Samantha's house, when we go, what's the name of that
Yep.
place? Speak. It's kind of one of those things where now you see the fruit of your labor, and it's just like, is people when they say it take like years and 1,000 hours or 100,000 hours and whatever years, it be true. It's true because, like, I saw your saying you ripped beginning to end, like, everything was like, and as a comedian, we learn like things is be timing. It be like gestures. It be like how long is the pause. It be like, do I look this way? And it was like, but when you in it, like it's something totally different. Like when you just kind of embody and be yourself, and it just, I mean, I think everybody killed on that special on Amazon Prime right now. Totally different. Y'all check it out. Um, but no, it's just like it'd be like, yo, that's the homie. Look, he he doing his thing. What was your, with that being said, what was like the downfall or the least memorable or uh I don't want to say a bomb, but like your least favorite moment in comedy?
um, I mean, I think I've said this. This is like my main bomb story. Because it was like the most like it's the most memorable in the sense of negativity, I guess. But it showed me this particular incident showed me that I'm going to be a stand-up comedian for sure. This guy had came to Marty's one day. It's an open mic that we go to. He came to Marty's looking for talent, and he was saying how he wanted to do this kind of like comedy show play. Like he had this play, and then these guys were going to come into this place, and they were going to actually like these bank robbers going to come into this place that they're doing stand up at. It's going to be kind of like it's going to be kind of based in like I think the early 1920s or like in the early 1900s, something like
Sound like a porn, low key.
that. Yeah, so these bank robbers are supposed to come in here. We're supposed to be performing stand up while they come in there and try to hide out or whatever. So I was like, man, yeah, I'm down, man. I was like, this is gonna be my big break, man. It came so quickly because this was gonna be like my second show. Like I did one show at the Ha Ha that I did really really well on for a competition,
Mhm.
and then this is gonna be my second show, and I was like polishing my set. Um, and then the night came, and they told us to dress up like in suits and stuff like that. And the night came, and it was nothing what he said. Like it was a stage,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Oh man, we ain't gonna be doing the play no more. We're gonna do kind of like a Apollo style comedy night." And it was in this theater. It had about 250 people or so. My boy Baleko was on the show also. It was like 19, 20 comedians. It was a lot of comics.
I want to ask who booked that show. I want,
I'll tell you. I don't even know he's around anymore, but I'll tell you his name off air.
okay.
So so the first like 3 or 4 comedians go up and they eat shit. Like they get booed off stage because that's what he's telling people to do is boo. So they got booed off stage, and then I think Baleko goes up. Baleko actually goes up and he rips. Like, he has a good ass set,
Hmm.
and then 3 or 4 people go up again and they bomb. They get booed off stage, and I'm up next. I'm nervous. I got my little shirt and tie and dress pants and dress shoes on and shit, which I never wear. I don't even like wearing that shit. Um, so I go on stage and I used to have this joke about like the cops and like I don't know, like I don't know, forgot what it was, getting pulled over high or something like that. I don't know. And and the first thing I say is "fuck the police." That's the first thing I say, right? And
Okay.
that shit just echoed throughout the whole theater. Nobody laughed. They just looked at me like. Then as soon as I started that joke, they just booed me, dog. They just booed me.
They was waiting. They was holding their boo. They was like, "We gonna wait for the octave to settle when it get quiet, quiet."
Yo, that's exactly right. And it started booing me. So I went to my natural kind of habitat, which is my defense mechanisms. I start roasting, like I start clowning. Like that's how I
Right.
grew up in that nature, doing the
Mhm.
dozens. So I started clowning people in the crowd, and I was getting them back. I was like, oh shit, I'm starting to win.
Okay.
So I went I went back and started doing material again, and they were like, ah, boo! They booed me off again. And the host, who was the guy that ran the show, the host, he was like, "Hey, come here, brother." He crept up to the stage, like, "Come here, brother. Just go ahead, hand me the mic. It's okay. It's over. It's over for you. You're done. You're done. It's okay." And I'm like, kind of like looking at the crowd, like a deer in the headlights, slowly handing the mic off, like, okay, and he kind of grabs my hand and kind of pulls me off stage. And I remember just being like so rattled. And then within a few minutes later, I said, "I want fucking revenge. Like I want to get this setback somehow. I want this." And then that's when I was like, "I'm a comedian," because a lot of people in that, especially their second time on stage, they would have been like, "It's over for me." It would have
Yeah.
crushed them. And I wanted more. So
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, it don't feel good to bomb. I don't think but it definitely, that whole revenge, that's like, oh, okay, all right, I got something for you. Okay, wait till I come back. Hands down, my worst bomb is at my first corporate gig. My first corporate gig,
mm,
I did a show with Nika Williams, Nika King now,
mm,
Sean Grant, Jesus Sepulveda, and I think I was the fourth comedian. When I tell you, Keenan, I didn't know, like, because that was my first time not being at a comedy club.
right.
And it was so like I bombed from the beginning. Like literally they was not messing with me, at all. And what I didn't do is like I didn't engage with the audience, like kind of like a new comedian. Like I just didn't know no better. Like how you snapped and was like, "Yo, I know what I'm doing. Let me roast you. Let me roast you." Like I literally like did my jokes and it sounded like a book report. Like or
Yeah.
like when you do when you're in church and you do a church the Easter speech and you don't even know what you're saying. Like I was so uncomfortable. And I didn't like literally like I went through the painful the set. Um and then when I got off stage, it was like corporate and we had nice dinner plates, everything was set out, the food was all, gourmet and stuff. When I tell you none of the comedians I think none of the comedians really like said anything to me, but then Sean Grant, who's a really good friend of mine,
Yeah,
he
it's the
turned
homie. That's the homie.
yeah, he turned his back like he couldn't even look at me like, and he was like, don't bring none of that negative, energy over here, or the bomb spirit. And I like literally when I sat down, I was like, I wish I could have clicked my heels and been somewhere else like Dorothy. And he was like, you should have said that on stage. That would have made. And it's just like, and that's it didn't click right then, but it's the whole being yourself, then it's just like, okay, like say how I feel, point out the obvious thing in the room. Y'all not feeling me.
Yep.
You and then let's get to it. What's the, like, and so I've learned how to do that. But when I tell you, to get handed over a check and not to feel like I, did my due diligence, it was the worst feeling I had in comedy, but also I cashed the check and was like, now
It
I'm
is.
a real comedian because I'm getting money.
It is what it is, because corporate gigs can pay really well too. So it's like depending on a corporate gig, it could pay thousands at times. It just depends. So like I always like I luckily I don't think I well actually I did. I have bombed that I need to get paid still. That's just a weird feeling when you bomb and it's like, hey, but I still need that money that I signed this contract for.
Exactly, exactly. And even with doing like now I'm a lot more confident and like I don't care as much. It's kind of like I know how to like wiggle back into like material that I know work. But
Mhm.
even at like clubs like the Union, like I have nights where I don't do well.
Mm.
Uh, and then I go sit in Ann's office and be like, oh, where that money at?
Yeah.
Imma get 'em next time. But that's just a part of business, it's just crazy, like, we grew a lot as comedians. You had like any unexpected trips to the emergency room?
Yeah, man. I would say I've been pretty, blessed in a sense of like not having to have a lot of stuff as I've gotten older.
Mhm.
But I forgot, it might have been around 2009 or 10 or something like that. Like I just had this pain in my abdominal, like it felt like something was like burning, like something like it just felt like heat. And I like it was so bad. Like I feel like I'm a pretty strong person. It was so bad, like it made me like drop to my knees and I started crying. Like I couldn't help it. Like I was crying. And my dad's one of these type of people that's like, sleep it off, son. Stop being a punk. Sleep it off.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, dad, I'll try. And then I went back to bed and I couldn't sleep it off. I kept crying and it kept hurting. Luckily, his wife, who his wife is now, at the time she was his girlfriend. She's a nurse, so she doesn't play that. She was just like, "We're not playing this game. He's going to the emergency room."
Okay.
And we went to the emergency room, and I think they found out that I was actually a kidney stone. And yeah, I
But
was
how
got,
old were you?
huh?
How old were you again?
I was like 35 now, so I was 27, 26, 27.
Okay, yeah, they hurt. Those hurt. They'll put you under the table. That pain.
So yeah, I was out, man. And then so I got there. Um, I remember the nurse was there. She looked pretty good too.
I think all nurses look good. When you sick, you like, you can help me. Okay, all right.
I definitely think that that's part of it too, is that you helped me too. So it's like, man, especially as a guy, we always like, man, thank you for helping me back. We big babies, you know what I'm saying? Um, so she was telling me, so this definitely happened like right after, it happened after Michael Jackson's death, like kind of close to it, because the medicine they gave me was the same medicine. I think it was the same medicine that he had, like the Depravol or something like that. I think it was
Propofol,
Depravol, yeah.
propofol, and it tastes like spaghetti when you wake up. You get
Yeah.
like,
Fully remember that. It might have, but all I know is she hit me with a she hit it in my IV or whatever, and she was like, I was like, how do I know when it's gonna like hit? Um, she was like, trust me, you'll know. She just walked off. So
uh-huh.
I'm having a conversation with my dad, and all of a sudden I go, oh man, it's crazy out here, man. Like I just it was like this weird ass feeling came over me.
Mhm.
And she came back, she was like, "There it is." And I'm just like I'm kinda like laughing, but she's just like my dad's laughing too, like, he's like, I literally saw your eyes just immediately change when that went through your body." And then I guess I was on I so much meds, I didn't really feel anything when I went to the bathroom like that.
Okay.
So it wasn't, I know people always have a painful, because they were trying to do all these tests. So they gave
Mhm.
me that pain thing first, and then when they found out that's what it was, I was already like doped up so much, I felt nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so before you went, like it was just you just had stomach pain. It was no burning or nothing like that, or no blood in your urine.
I couldn't go to the bathroom.
Okay.
I didn't go to the bathroom, so I couldn't tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sorry you had to deal with that because I've seen people come in with kidney stones and it be grown men crying like big babies. Like I
Yeah.
want my mama big babies.
Still to this day, I've never. That's probably been the worst pain I've ever had in my life. I thought it was gonna be something like maybe an appendix or something like that, because I don't know
Uh-huh.
what was happening, but I just know like it was. I've never felt that pain. I would never wish that pain on my worst enemy. Like that's how bad that shit was.
So
Um,
what did they do to you when you were there? Just give you pain medicine and like fluids?
they pretty much like it should pass. That's how they were telling. That's what they were telling me. It's like it's gonna pass. You're gonna have to go to the bathroom eventually, and it'll pass through.
Oh wow. And did you stay? Were you admitted or you just left right after the pain medicine?
When I had the pain medicine, I ended up having to go. They kept pumping me for the fluids, and
Uh-huh.
I ended up having to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I had like a little bit of like blood in my urine. Um, I'm sorry to be too graphic, but um, Yeah, so that's I guess maybe that's how they knew it passed, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't feel much.
Okay.
I was gone. I was on another planet.
I definitely, because I've been, I've been a nurse, but I also been a patient before. But the whole blood in the urine thing made me think. I had a scare, right? Like when I was new. For those that don't know, I was a travel nurse. Um, for about 6 years, and a travel nurse is somebody that go from one city to another city and work in a hospital. And work in like a new environment, and they know the role, so you just kind of fill in the gap for somebody else. So when I came to LA, I was working at Children's Hospital, and we all ordered food, and I this was the first time I had Mediterranean food.
Mhm.
So I had like someplace all Al Wazir, and they had like this salad with beets. I didn't know what beets were, and we didn't eat beets in Chicago. We didn't do none of that. It was just we ate regular salad. And so so I ate and everything was cool. And I think maybe the next day, my urine was like it was pink tinged. And I thought I was having, I thought I was spilling blood in my urine, right? So I did a couple things. Like I did like the dipstick, like the little urine dipstick that they do when you go to the doctor.
Mhm.
I did that on myself, and it showed like a very, very tiny bit of blood, right? And it was like, and I was just like, oh, maybe, like maybe it was my cycle or something, or, I didn't think that, I didn't really think nothing of it. But then this is embarrassing. I can't even believe I'm finna say this. But I had sex with somebody, maybe the same night of the food,
Mhm.
and I thought the guy had hurt me down there. Like I thought he did damage, and like, and that it made my pee that color. Like, oh, he got me bleeding.
Mhm.
And at first I was bragging to my friends, like, girl, he he busted it open.
Yeah.
Got scared because it didn't go away. When I did the dipstick, I went to the emergency room, right? I went to like a regular person. They was like, "No, you good." And then I went to the emergency room, Hollywood Press. They was like, "No, you good." I was like, "Can you do the blood? Test my blood and make sure my platelets not low." And because I'm a nurse
Mhm.
and I work with blood, like I worked with kids with cancer. So like I knew all these little things. I'm like, do a CBC and make sure I, do a sediment. Like I was telling them what to do.
Mhm.
And I wound up seeing a specialist, that they did some check where they stuck something up my urethra and like, like to do a test,
Mhm.
to make sure I ain't had no leakages or nothing. And come to find out, it was, they didn't find nothing, right? And that's when I had propofol for the first time too. And they had to put me under to do the test. And when I woke up from the propofol, like it tasted my breath, and I don't even know if that makes sense, but it tasted like I had garlic bread or like spaghetti. Like it just
Mm.
had like a taste. Um, but then when after doing all them tests and going crazy and cursing everybody out, tell them this and this and giving a dude credit that didn't deserve it, like,
Yeah.
come to find out it was because I had that Mediterranean salad and they had like pickled beets in it. And so now that I know, like anytime I eat beets, if my urine change colors, then I was messed up is that nobody in the healthcare system asks questions about did you eat beets? Like nobody said that. Like
They didn't ask you
it
if you
was
ate at all.
no, they didn't even. I'm just like, and I put it together later, like after I went through all that. And, I was just like, I didn't believe that something wasn't wrong with me because I was like that, and I stopped messing with the dude because I'm like, you gonna mess me up, and like was it
Way
was
too much credit. Way too much credit.
like, girl, how women talk.
Mhm.
I was just like, like, he knocked it out, like he busted my bladder, it was like stuff like that.
Did you tell him too?
I did. I gave him credit. He was all
Oh, he was bruh.
I was like, "You ain't got no insurance." I had just it was, I was new to LA and, everybody out here was, entertainers. And I was like, you ain't, if something happened. And I was just naive. I ain't know no better, but it was just like one of those lessons I learned. And I think a lot of people when they adults, they learn the whole beet lesson. Like if you eat beets, if you drink beets, your pee gonna be pink or red. And
Mhm.
you know, don't do what I did.
He probably still walking around to this day, man. I used to go to Taquita, boy. I knocked it down through there.
That actually, I'm like, sometimes when I talk to people on the podcast, it make me think about stuff I actually been through. And I was like, I remember that. I was like, yeah, I did. I was so scared. I was terrified.
That's scary. Once when you see when blood in the urine type thing is like that. I'm always told blood in your urine or blood in your stool, go to the hospital immediately.
Oh yeah, the stool is like number one because it's because the gut control everything. That's
Right.
like that's where all the excretion happen, and if that's messed up, then yeah, yeah, that's always. But we don't like going to the doctor.
Mm-mm.
We do not like going to the doctor. Um, oh man, am I gonna edit this story out though? I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna put it on there.
Let it ride, man. Let it ride. Be transparent with the people. I mean, my dirt, like for me, all my dirt's in my stand up. I don't hide any of my dirt because I don't want anything to ever come to light because it's like I'd rather just tell it because I'd rather tell it the way I know it happened instead of somebody try to grab my story and fabricate it and then try to you know ruin me or fuck me in that way.
Yeah, I ain't mean dirty, but I was trying to see what you been to the emergency room? Like that's normally when find out. It's like, yeah, I passed the kidney stone, got me a little medicine next.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Luckily, like I said, luckily I've been in fairly good health. But I do have, I've had some people in my family pass away from, cancer, especially recently. Even my pops has prostate cancer right now.
Oh,
So
hear that.
yeah, it made me try to get my own health in order and everything. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Is your dad okay? Because my uncle has I don't know what the term is now because he had surgery already, but and I had a close friend, her father had surgery from prostate cancer. Actually during the pandemic.
Mhm.
But I hope he okay and recovery and everything.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just, what's funny about the doctors and stuff like that. Only thing I get upset about is I don't like how they never ask about diet. They rarely ask about diet.
They don't ever, and that's the thing, Keenan. When I moved to LA, I learned how to take care of my body with eating healthy. Like I learned about, ginger. Like I learned like smooth, like juicing. I
Mhm.
learned fasting. I've learned like there's so much more to eat than like just like McDonald's and all that. They don't we get a course about nutrition, but it's not I don't think the healthcare system is like it don't really promote that as much as it should because it's like there's a problem, we got a pill for it. There's an issue, we got a surgery for it.
Mhm.
The work that goes into how to prevent that stuff, I think now, like me trying to tell my mom, don't put salt on your burger, or don't, she still eat ground beef. I'm like, why you not using ground turkey? Why you eating meat? Like
Mhm.
people they don't know. And then by the time it's like, okay, you got all these issues, then it's like change your diet, and people be setting their ways. My mom be like,
Yeah.
I ain't. She eat donuts all day, and I'm like, Ma, why you you know
And then
people
they,
don't.
yeah, that generation too. That generation, like they're gonna always say, well, well, my parents ate pork and beef every single day of their life, and they lived to 90. And it's like, but also the pork and beef back then wasn't as processed.
It
You know what I'm
wasn't.
saying? And
Yeah,
you dealing with that. You're dealing with all this extra stress that's coming on top of that. It's a whole different ball game. And I think a few years I found out that doctors be having money and they be having like stock in some of these pills in some of this medicine. So they're gonna push that. And that's what's scary to me. It's like they know it's not the best thing, but if they getting a little extra bread on the side, that that's scary to me. That I don't know if you're pushing that on me or if you really mean this is gonna actually help me.
yeah.
You
I
know?
think for you to say that, and for me to be a nurse, and like if you didn't know that, I worked with kids with cancer for all my career,
Mhm.
and I lost my grandmother to throat cancer. And then so it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you see them come in, they get like all these medicines, and every medicine got a side effect. They need another medicine.
Mhm.
It's just like that whole like the health part where like we don't push that. And I know when I say we, I mean like I think as the healthcare system for one,
Mhm.
and I think, and then growing up in a family where, everything fried, everything dipped, and
Mhm.
everything got to be like double dip, double cheese, like um it's and that's how we grow up, and food is how people connect, and then it's like we connecting and we having fun and we being family, but then like we not drinking enough water
Yep.
or eating salads. Like I didn't eat salads growing up. I started eating salads when I moved to LA.
LA
You know,
would do that to you. LA would do that to you too.
you know, because you start caring about like hiking, yoga, like all these things to like take care of your body. We didn't grow up like that. We grew up pork chops, fried pork chops, smothered
Mhm.
gravy,
Mhm.
and it's delicious. But like I juice now, and I don't know if it's an older thing where it's like like stuff coming, stuff try to come for you like arthritis and
Yeah.
ailments, and I'm just like I be reading and be like, you know. I be juicing ginger, turmeric. I got my little concoctions, and like I know like zinc. I take that if I feel like I'm getting sick. Vitamins, like all this different stuff. And it's like we didn't grow up like that. We grew up on dinner's ready, eat what's there,
Yep.
and who put all the cheese in the macaroni and cheese, and the eggs and the milk.
Every single cheese. Exactly.
Okay, you got to put everything.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
for me too. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that you go ahead.
I mean, you're right. Like it's for me, I end up like researching a lot of stuff about like Dr. Sebi, and I still don't know everything about that type of diet, that alkaline diet, but I jumped on the sea moss and the bladder racks, and I got a lot of herbs at the crib. I got sarsaparilla and burdock root and elderberry. I make those teas. Like I drink a tea once or twice a day. I normally do a smoothie with sea moss and bladder racks in it, um, every single day. Um,
And what does all that stuff, what that's supposed to do? Because a CMOS comedian Boogie B he must be the spokesperson for CMOS because he CMOS all day.
I mean, but a sea moss is just like it's just like a wonder, to be honest. But it gives you pretty much it gives you the majority of your minerals. Like I think like 92 of your minerals that you need for your body. And then when you add bladderwrack and burdock root, that's the rest of your minerals, the 102 to 104 minerals that your body needs. And but it also does a lot of things. You can put it in your hair. It does stuff for your hair. I put it on when you make it into a gel. I put it on my face, and it's like a mask. My face, I never felt my face feel so good and so smooth and so refreshed
Okay.
afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because a lot of times as men, we don't take care of our face like that. We'll wash our face every once in a while, but we don't do a lot of skincare stuff like that because it's just like, well, we out here rugged. It's like I saw what that stuff was doing to my face and my skin. I was like, all right, man. Um, my water intake is normally trash. It's pretty bad. I got to get better with that. But when you take that stuff and you're drinking a lot of water, you're drinking the amount of water you're supposed to. A,
Hmm.
a lot of stuff will clear up in your body and your skin just by that
Yeah, I believe in that. I do. Water is the wonder, and
water. Yeah,
I stopped drinking pop. Um,
yeah, yeah. Midwest, I call it pop.
oh yeah, and you call it soda, right?
Yeah, when I first heard pop, I was like, man, that's stupid. But
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was literally a whole region thing.
yeah. No. I literally I stopped drinking pop, or soda, whatever, pop to me. And I stopped I gave up Lent. I gave up Lent. I gave up McDonald's for Lent one year. And that was when I moved to LA. Because somebody that I knew, people be like, oh, like I don't want to say weird, but just like they had a little special talents, and somebody was like, "Oh, they could see in my eyes that I ate bad food and that I should switch my diet."
Mhm.
And then being on the LA kick, I was like, I gave up McDonald's for Lent, and I haven't really. I think I never went back to McDonald's. After that, it's been years. I might have slipped up one or two times in years, but I gave up pop too, and I stopped drinking pop just because it was like, like it's bad, all the sugar and the fat, and I don't even miss it. Like I drink ginger beer at times, which is like drinking pop. So I guess I'm, I
But you cut
guess,
down, and that's the main thing. You don't drink the super super sugary stuff,
mm-mm. If
which
I
is
drink pop, my taste buds change. Like I can't even handle it if I was to try to drink it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I think everything too, is in moderation. A lot of people go hard when they're like, sometimes you have the vegans be like, "Oh man, you're doing this and you need to." It's just like, all right. A lot of times when you just do things in moderation, you cut down,
yeah,
your meat consumption a lot. Um, I'm not saying you'll be fine. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I know you'll probably cut down way more health problems if you just, all right, I might do this once a week or something like that, or once every other week. I'll give me a little hamburger as my cheat meal or whatever the case may be. I mean, for me, I gave up pork years ago, and like when I ate it again, my stomach was just like, it ain't happening, bro. So I don't eat pork. I haven't ate pork in years. And then beef, I gave up beef and chicken. Um, and same thing, except chicken was the only hardest thing for me. I was just like, damn, man, Chick-fil-A. But but besides that, I mean, I'll eat like seafood every once in a while. But I haven't had the other meats in years.
okay. Yeah, I gave up all that, but pork, I gave it up, and then when I tried to eat it again, it gave me a headache. So
Pork
I
pork is
don't.
just pork is horrible.
Yeah, it mess you up, but that's, I mean, the whole health part with like our families and older generations, they don't, that my dad's supposed to be on a special diet, and I think he don't even know what the diet is. I think it's lack of education, and then lack of like willingness to like make the adjustments. Like he had he was in the hospital for something, but he had to cut back on all that fried foods and everything, and he eat Polish sausages. I'm like, Dad, you're not supposed to eat that. Well, I ain't fried. It's just like, like people don't know, and people just they like to be happy. The older people, it's like I like eating it, so I'm gonna eat it. And I'm like,
Well, what do
right
you?
now, hmm,
I was gonna say, what do you tell somebody that's like when they're older like that? They've been eating that their whole life, and they're like, "Yo, man, like I live my life. Like I'm on that." I know it kind of sucks to say, but it's like they're on that tail end, right? And it's just like I'd rather be on that tail end and go out the way I want to go out.
yeah, that's what, that's one thing I respect though, because older people like my grandmother, when she had passed from cancer, but like on her deathbed, she was like, I want a pack of cools and an old style, like,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I think that like I think that to do, to want what you like, even when it's like towards the end, it's kind of like I'm for it, like whatever you want. But at our stages, we got time to change. We got time to like to readjust and reset how we treat our bodies. Um. So yeah, I'm all for. I'm like, give grandma what she want. Now I'm going to the store with a note. My grandma want to fix the old style. She at home. No, I ain't got no ID. This the letter. Did you well, my grandma used to do that. Send us to the store to buy things that we were not old enough to buy, and thought that sending a letter would justify it.
Yeah.
And it did. Like play her lottery, buy her beer, buy her the cigarettes. I mean, but that was hood. That was hood chronicles
Yep.
back in the day. Yeah. Oh, so any family remedies? I know you said you do CMO. That's just your regimen now, but anything you grew up with that was like a thing that y'all did, like a cure for everything?
um, my dad is a big garlic guy. He's a
Okay.
big like put garlic in something or ginger and something like that. I didn't even know like my dad's mother, my grandmother on his side, she knew about all the herbs that I take now. Like when I was telling
Mhm.
my dad, he was like, "Oh yeah, she told me about that." I was like, "Well, why don't you take it? Why didn't you bring it into the house?" Man, he really didn't have nothing for me. So I
Yeah.
was, but also too, I wasn't on that kick. I used to be like, man, them herbs don't work, man. Give me the real medicine. Not
Yeah.
realizing that that was actually the real medicine. Very ignorant to that. Really, a lot of times for us, it was like when I would get sick, it was just a lot of times it was tea. It was like some
Okay.
type of tea, um, and a lot of fluids. That's how my dad took care of me, or like my mom. It would be the same thing. It'd be some teas and some fluids, and that's really it. And normally and that and some rest, I was able to kick the majority of stuff that I ever got.
Yeah, rest is that rest, I think across the board is everybody's go to. You
Hmm.
like anything that happen, "Oh, just go lay down. Go lay down."
Yep.
Like, go lay down. I talked to my mama today. If anything, she's like, "Baby, just lay down for a little while." You know, we have people that's mentally ill, like, in our family,
Hmm.
and, like, their medicine is laying down too. Like, if they start getting too hype, or doing irrational stuff, it's like, "Go lay down." And, like, that is that's the cure, I guess. Hey, that's what they say is lay down. So I'm like, I be laying down when I don't feel good. It's like,
It worked though.
yeah, it's just like you just I don't know. That's the I think it's a wise tale. Laying down don't cure everything, but
Nah, not at
I guess it
all.
just gets you out your mama face. And it's like get it, it's like and if you bug too much, then they know something real.
That's 100% true. Just get you out their face. Go lay down. You wake up somewhat refreshed, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, sleep it off. Sleep off that kidney stone. That's what your parents told you, didn't they? They was like, boy, go sleep that
My dad, if his if his wife at the time, if she wasn't there, I probably the bank knock his door down crying like, please just take me to the hospital, please. I'm like, oh, here we go. All right.
Oh, oh, well, I'm happy you good. And man, we out here. I'm just saying that because I miss being in the streets. I miss, like being able to bump into a comedian and talk trash or talk about what we doing in life and, encourage and, I miss that. It's been too long. Like, so I thank you for taking the time to just, chop it up with
Yeah,
me.
of
Um,
course, of course. I'm back out there now. I'm back. I'll hit some bikes here and there.
oh, you bet. Oh, I'm here. I'm supposed to go to Chicago tomorrow. I got a flight just to go visit my family because 'cause I'm off, and I don't know if Imma get on it because 'cause I'm still like EBGBs with the whole corona thing.
I
Like,
get it. I get
yeah,
it.
I ain't really, I'm just like, is it life or death for me to go?" Like, everything I think about, I be like, is it worth the risk of possibly contracting it?" Like, and I think that's the gift and the curse of being a nurse. It's kinda
Mhm.
like like I know too much, and it's just like it can mess you up. It's like if I ain't know none of the background research stuff that I do, and I just knew what they said on the news, I probably would be in the streets too, just like forget it.
Yeah, I mean, I,
Um,
I I try to be as safe as possible, but I was like, I at the time I only did comedy one time in like 6 months. I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna risk it all.
well, I guess I'll see you in the streets. I probably ain't won't be out no time soon.
You're like, nah, I won't.
I'll see you on
I'll
the
see
I'll
you.
see you on the gram.
Yeah, I'll see you 2021. Hopefully.
But Keenan, thank you so much. Where could we find you? Why don't you do shout out your socials, your social media stuff. Where can we
Yeah,
find you next?
yeah. I'm on Keenan Baker on everything. KEENAN Baker BAKER on all social platforms. Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, check out Tony Baker and Friends, a comedy special. You can get it on Amazon Prime, or you can go to gumroad.com. I think /Tony Baker because it's on his Gumroad. Um, Hit my website, Keenan Baker. I got some merch on there. Support your boy.
Hey,
And And one last thing, check out I'm in the anime, man. So check out my animation podcast called Animation, SHUN. And yeah, man, appreciate y'all for listening.
Oh, thank you. Y'all check Keenan Baker out. He told y'all where to go.